So occasionally I like to dive into topics that are a little bit more serious and stuff. And today I wanted to talk about something that's been sweeping America and probably the rest of the world. It is censorship, right? In American media and stuff like that. I mean, we have a lot of people leading a lot of the platforms and stuff over here that people use globally. And there are certain things you can and can't say, certain political perspectives you can express, certain opinions on things that you may or may not disagree with, things of that sort, so forth and so on. It has a lot of people up in cahoots. I see it all the time. Every time I look at any piece of media here, people complain all the time. And then it begs the question, does this happen in Germany at all? Because I did, and I have, and I still will always review cultural differences between Germany, America, Europe, America, the rest of the world, and America. And it seems, generally speaking, that a lot of other countries aren't as strict with censorship as America is, but then on the flip side, a lot of countries are way more strict than America is on censorship. I feel like this kind of all sparked from no one really having a grasp on what the internet actually is and understanding how impactful that was. I remember being a kid, and there was traditional media, which was like television, movies, things like that, and the internet was very new. Social media was very new. So mainstream media never really took the underdog media is what I'll call it at the time, the internet, very seriously. They thought it was a place you went to go watch cat videos and chat with people online, play video games, and kind of just log off and tune into the actual media or traditional media. This has probably been the idea around the entire world, but I'm not sure how this has impacted you all through the last few years or last few decades. I'm 27 myself, so I'm about to complete my third decade of life, actually. So a lot of the people, I look at the demographics on this channel, and it's a wide range of people between 18 to 40 something years old for the demographics. And so since we have a wide range of people, I felt like I could bring this up to you guys and turn the question over to you. How bad is censorship in Germany? You guys have a lot of, different options when it comes to politics, for instance, very different, perspectives. You have people that are far right leaning, people that are far left leaning, people that are middle right, middle left. And it almost seems like, there isn't really that much suppression when it comes to people expressing their views, no matter how heinous or ridiculous they are. And I feel like what that does is it allows people to see those respective groups for what they are and make a reasonable judgment on that. I think the idea that America has right now is if they suppress ideas that are unwanted, people just won't think those thoughts because everything will be happy-go-lucky, honky-dory. But what people will start doing, and what people are starting to do now, they're digging for the truth. They're digging for not even the truth, but just they're trying to dig for the other perspective to see, the opposing side and what they think and why they think that way and whatnot, because they're so suppressed. And honestly, I feel like censoring, people's opinions and stuff like that has actually sparked a curiosity for the people who would have otherwise not been curious about different things. I'll bring up a very good example. Andrew Tate. Everybody knows that man's name. People treat it like Voldemort. They refuse to say this man's name. The reason why I feel like he's even a big deal at this point, he's not saying anything that would have been looked at as controversial 10 years ago, because everyone was allowed to, have a voice on the platforms as long as they were not inciting, harm to anyone, or they weren't trying to actively take away rights from people and whatnot, so I feel like if we had the same rules and guidelines as we did back in maybe 2014 and back, then he wouldn't have blown up at all. He would not have blown up at all. People would have just tuned him out. They're like, okay, and next. But nowadays it's like people are giving attention to literally everything. So because, we have a point and stuff where people are like, oh, don't do this. The people who do the very things that you aren't supposed to do online are getting a lot of attention, and they're blowing up fast. A lot of the channels that I see that are blowing up super quickly these days are channels that happen to be super hyper controversial, and they tap into the deepest, darkest depths of the internet and stuff like that. And it's unfortunate that it gets that much attention, but it does. And like I said, it begs the question, does this happen in Germany? Germany, to me, has been, from what I've seen through reactions and talking to people in Discord and interacting to the people, the few people that I know that are German in, America, or to some of the people that I even bumped in here in Korea that happen to be German and whatnot. It seems like it's very straightforward, and it is basically designed to make sure that, at least at this point, people are, not necessarily heard, but their rights don't infringe and overlap on someone else's rights. So there are things that you are able to do, and there are also things you are not able to do, but it's out of respect for other people and whatnot. Some people would, could argue and say that that is a form of suppression and stuff like that as well, but I don't have a full understanding of how you guys operate. So this is where I bring the question and I turn it over to you guys. How is censorship affected Germany? Because I know how it has affected America. People have seen how it has affected America. I don't really think that, and to an extent, it's that bad, but also at the same time, I think it is pretty intense. It's gotten to the point where people are trying to, it's like the ultimate form of cancellation. People are like, okay, well, we don't want to hear anything you have to say. First, it started off with extreme opinions, right? It started off with very extreme opinions, and they, banned accounts, and they shadow banned people. They completely blocked people who, were saying some very extreme things, and that made sense. But then it started turning into people who were making statements and stuff. For instance, misinformation statements, right? That was never a thing in the past. People just tuned it out. People just knew, okay, like, I'll just go and do my own research and see if this is true or not. And then, of course, you had the people, the older people, typically, that, like, really old people, like really, really old people, that would open up Facebook and believe the first thing that they saw, and they would run with it because they saw it on Facebook and it was memeable. But now there's actual penalties for spreading misinformation, which I never thought we would get to a point of doing. I mean, what if it's a parody? You know what I mean? So now we have these things. I think independent fact checkers is what I've been seeing a lot more. So, and I'm not sure if this happens in Germany a lot. Maybe it does. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not out there. And I thought it was interesting, and I was talking to some friends about it, because I wouldn't mind people fact checking others if the fact checking was coming from credible sources. They're using Wikipedia and other websites that are not credible to cite their information for why XYZ is XYZ. And I'm neutral on pretty much everything, right? I'm like, okay, cool. As long as, like, you're not infringing on my life or whatever, I'm chilling. You know what I mean? But then I just see these things and I'm like, gee whiz, I wonder what this looks like on the other side of the pond, So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I know this is a little bit of a charged topic to talk about, but I don't know. I feel like more and more people are talking about the act of censorship all over the internet. And I know, and I understand that, all of these platforms are privatized. These aren't public platforms where the governments are running these platforms. It's, a group of individuals that runs each of these platforms, and they have every right to create guidelines, and inclusivity and exclusivity as they please, So for all my people that are older and whatnot, how have you seen the internet develop from the time that you hopped on the internet up until now? Do you wish that we had some things back in the day that we don't have now? And then do you also see how censorship has evolved over time and whatnot? Because I feel like in the past, censorship it's always been a tactic of mainstream media. They just brought it from television to the internet, and now people are seeing the full impact of how it affects people on the internet now, versus before it wasn't really that big of a deal. The internet was kind of like its own thing, and people were getting wildly famous, and people in mainstream media were very baffled as to why. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about this. And that's pretty much today's topic, everybody. I will see you soon. Take care. And looking forward to you guys' comments. I'll probably make a part 2 on this. Peace.